Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. A very warm welcome to yet another session of Quest interviews. Today we have a special guest, but let me first begin with a prayer. Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Shri Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Viewers, we have a very special guest today, Kumari Maitri Goswami ji, who is joining us all the way from Gujarat, right?
Yes, Gujarat.
Yes. So let me just give a brief introduction. Kumari Maitri Goswami ji is the 17th descendant of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya, and we are very fortunate to have you here today for this session. And she has been she has been Vaishnavite by faith, of course, and a student of Vedanta and other Bharatiya Shastra Paddhati. And she has studied Pushtimarga Shastras from her father and her guru, Goswami Sri Shyam Manohar ji, since 14 years. And apart from the Shastras of Pushti Margiya sect, she has also studied Nyaya, Vyakarana, Sahitya, and many other things. And she is currently working with her father at Vallabhacharya Vidyapit, which was established for propagation of Vallabha Sampradaya teachings. And she is also appointed as a professor at philosophy department of Mumbai, Kalina University, for teaching Vallabha Vedanta in a diploma course. Thank you, Maitri ji, on the behalf of our Indica Moksha for making time for this session. Let me go ahead with my first question. This quest basically is a interview series that we have been doing for a few years now, wherein we invite people from very different background about their spiritual journey. So it will basically an informal discussion to know about your background, your journey, and your engagement with Sanatana Dharma. So my first question would be to request you to share about your life journey, especially as a descendant of Sri Vallabhacharya ji. So that comes with a lot of background, lot of foundation, but also a lot of responsibilities. So tell us about your journey. Who are your early influences? What were your early learnings? Please go ahead.
So, as you said, that being a descendant of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya, though we lived a very normal life, like a normal human being lives, but along with the academic education, my father always wanted that we must learn the Shastras as well. Not just because being from that legacy or because of being a descendant, but as a Hindu, as a Vaishnava, for understanding our own duties, for understanding the responsibilities, for understanding the Shastriya perspective of life, we must be aware about what our Shastras have to say. And I have always seen my father, my grandfather, though we were living the spiritual life in our house, we were following the principles of Vallabh Sampradaya, and we were performing all the engagements through which our Acharya family has to go through. But along with that, my father wanted that as an individual, we must be aware about everything. And therefore, he initiated me in the academic education, and along with that, he wanted me to learn the Shastras traditionally, not just for the sake of bookish knowledge, but for the sake of implementation, for the sake of teachings, and for the sake of understanding my own duties as well. So when formally I started learning when I was in 8th standard. So from that age, my father initiated me, and at that time I started learning Vyakran and Nyay, Mimamsa, because before going through the Vedantic studies, my father wanted that I must understand the whole background, the linguistics of Sanskrit language in which the acharyas have wrote all the shastras. So initially I started learning those things, and along with that, my father has been engaging in conducting the shibir in which he used to teach the shastras of Vallabh Sampradaya. So I started learning that from him, and since that age, I have almost now all the Shastriya granthas from our Sampradaya, and the overview of all the Hindu scriptures is under my knowledge.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think that gives a very strong foundation from a Bharatiya Jnana Sampradaya, because that is some foundation which is normally missing in the rest of the Indian society today, because
Yeah,
most of us have been focused more on the secular education, and very few have actually kind of started the discovery, self discovery journey. So, just follow up to what you said. So, when you started this, how you said that growing up, it was a very normal experience like any other household, but still, I believe that the influence of Sri Vallabhacharya ji as a important personality and also figurehead of the sampradaya, the whose teachings you kind of represent in today's life. So that must have had huge influence on you as a person while growing up. So perhaps you could share some experience or some anecdotes about your personal approach to or experience with the personality of Mahaprabhuji in your life.
yeah. So the thing was that obviously when we live in a normal secular society, as you said, that people are not aware about what our Shastri values are, what is real Hinduism. They feel that visiting just a temple once a week or on the festivals or observing a vrat on the special occasions is sufficient for being a Hindu. So people are not living Hinduism in their day-to-day life nowadays. So watching me doing that, it was strange for the other people who are around me. So when I used to go to the school and college and the friend circle around me, the neighbors around me, they were not aware about what Mahaprabhu Vallabhacharya is, what does Bhakti Sampradaya mean, what it means to be in the legacy of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya. Technically, I would say in the open arena that what actually being a Hindu means. So it was quite a struggling journey to make people understand about our lifestyle, how we live. Just a small example, that whenever the eclipse used to fall, and we used to say that after observing the rules and regulations for the eclipse and after taking the bath when the eclipse is over, me and my sister and brothers used to visit the school. So people were like that, who follows the eclipse rules nowadays, and why is it necessary, why you need to do all these things? So these were the questions which I faced during my childhood. Same way, because in our sampradaya, Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya restricts the disciples to have a samarpit food. It means whatever is offered to the deity in our house, only that type of offering is supposed to be accepted by the prasad, has to be accepted by a disciple and a devotee of Vallabh Sampradaya. So since childhood, we never used to have anything outside our house. So people used to feel that you haven't tasted a chocolate any day, or why don't you have food at any hotel or restaurant? And how do you survive? I mean, how do you people travel? How do you live in this society? So these were the basic questions I used to face from the people regarding my father's occupation, because he is not occupied in any sort of job or any type of any such occupation. So people used to feel that what does your father do? And I was like, how to answer this question? How can I explain people that we are from this legacy of being a descendant being from a Acharya family, our duty is to preach Shastra and not to be in any sort of job or business thing. So these were the things which I used to face during my childhood and till the date. Though nowadays people are aware about these things much, but still they are not aware about what Hindu society is supposed to be, or how the Hindu scriptures have asked us to live a life. So what are the duties of a Brahmin, or how a Brahmin must live, and what are the duties of family members of a Brahmin? These things are not under the knowledge of other people, and therefore these were the questions which I have always faced. But though my father used to say that we must be proud of our identity, and once I started learning my scriptures, I used to share these questions with my father and family members as well. That my friends were asking this. They used to ask my father as well whenever they used to visit our house. So, yeah, so we answered those questions. We tried to make them understand things even logically, even through the Vedic scriptures. Some people were inspiring, some people mocked us for the way we were living, but somehow we managed to live both the lives in parallel way.
Wonderful. So it so happens sometimes, actually not just sometimes, often we see that the parents are quite sampradayik, following the tradition, but their children as they grow up and because of so much external influences, there comes a time of disillusionment. Especially I can tell from my own journey that my family was never too traditional per se, but I had a lot of questions while growing up, and when that answers did not come, there was a period when I considered myself an atheist. So were there, and return journey was completely my own effort, because I never stopped kind of seeking. So were there any period of disillusionment in your life also? uh, Especially with the kind of external influences that happens. You mentioned about the questions and the mocking and everything.
Yeah, I can say, because as a child, not after I grew up and after I understood the principles of our Sampradaya and Shastra, but yeah, when I was a child, I used to feel that why aren't we living a life like a normal people? Why we are not enjoying the life like the other people do? Or why can't I engage in many of these things? Like, for example, my father never permitted me to attend any birthday party of my friends. He always used to say that you will be influenced with that environment, and perhaps you will lose your commitment. So he felt that we will be attracted, I will be attracted towards that environment. So he always restricted me that, okay, don't roam with your friends and don't go with them to any restaurant and hotel, don't attend their birthday parties, because he used to feel that maybe someone will feed me something. Being a child, I will not be able to restrict myself from doing that. So at that time, sometimes I used to feel that what is the reason behind all these things? And if others are also identifying themselves as Hindu, we are also Hindu Vaishnavas, then what is the need to be so rigid? So these were the questions which I had in my mind, but though I never felt any sort of negation that, okay, this is wrong and I must keep myself away or I must do something else. These were the I never had any such thought. But yeah, the questions arised in my mind regarding the lifestyle things, not regarding the principles. But yeah, after I understood the things, I saw people ruining their life, being influenced by the Western lifestyle. I felt that yes, I am at a good place, and it was quite good that my father was very rigid and very strict, and he never permitted us to engage ourselves in any such thing. So yeah, now I feel that it was okay, it was good. And if I would have been the parent to any such child, even I would have behaved the same way.
Wonderful. So now moving on, I want to ask some questions about Pushtimarga, about the Vallabha Vedanta. How is Vallabhacharya's teachings of Vedanta different from other schools of Vedanta? And also highlight some very significant aspects of Pushtimarga, especially both the philosophical aspects as well as the practitioner's perspective. Some in the acharams, can you just highlight about them?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to divide this question into two parts. Some are the philosophical aspects and some regarding the Achar Paksh, the Sadhana Pranali. So about the philosophical aspect, the Vallabhacharya has never titled his philosophical understanding as any particular thing. But after Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya, his younger son, has titled Mahaprabhu as the Sthapak of Sakara Brahmavad. So this term was coined by his son, Shri Vittalnath Prabhucharan. And Vallabhacharya always has used the term that I am a Brahmavadi. I am explaining the Brahmavad as it has been preached in Upanishad, and I am explaining it in with the Abhidha Shakti. It means whatever is the literal translation of the Upanishad and the texts, I am using that sort of understanding, and that's why I am a Brahmavadi. But to differentiate the Brahmavad, because the Brahmavad has been taught by many other acharyas, including Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya. So Sakara Brahmavad was the term, first time it was coined by his younger son. And that's why nowadays the philosophical understanding and the principle of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya is known as Shuddhadvaita Brahmavad and Sakar Brahmavad. So Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya, the first thing he wanted to say was that don't consider Jagat as mithya. So this was the aspect he wanted to differentiate from what Bhagavad Shankaracharya has to say. So he said that because Krishna is Parabrahma, and he has created the whole universe out of his own Sat, Chit and Anand Gunadharma. That's why the universe has to be true. So all the Nama Rupa Karma which we witness around us, including the Jeev, including the Jad, everything has to be real. So it is Satkaryavad and Satkaranatavad. Because Brahma himself is the Upadan and Nimitta Karan to the universe, and all the Nam Rup Karma have been originated from the Brahman, and that's why the universe has to be real. And the two aspects of a single Brahma, it means being Krishna and being Brahman. It means being infinite and being finite to show finite in the form of Krishna. They both are aspects of a single entity. It is like the two sides of a single coin. So Sakara Brahmavad means that Brahman is Sakar and Nirakar both. So these two are aspects of a single entity. So this is what Sri Vallabhacharya has explained as his philosophical aspect. And that's why it is different from what Ramanuj, Madhvacharya and Shankaracharya mainly has to say. But Vallabhacharya is very open about all the Vaishnavite theories, and therefore in his commentary named Subodhini on Srimad Bhagavat, Sri Vallabhacharya mentions that there are 4 types of Bhakti Marg which have been propagated with the orders of Narayan himself, which are Sattvic, Rajas, Tamas and Nirguna Bhakti Marg. So he says that I have incarnated for propagating Nirguna Bhakti Marg with the orders of Bhagavan, but Vishnu Swami is the propagator of Sattvic Bhakti Marg. Ramanuj is the propagator of Rajas Bhakti Marg, and Madhvacharya is the propagator of Tamas Bhakti Marg because of the Dvaitavadi philosophy, because of the dualism. Sorry?
Who is Vishnu Swami?
Yeah, Mahaprabhu himself has introduced himself as the Matanuvarti of Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. Though that Sampradaya is not surviving nowadays, but in his Granth named Tattvarth Deep Nibandh, Mahaprabhu ji is saying that I am Vishnu Swami Matanuvarti. So the ancestors of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya used to follow the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya. And being in the legacy of that family, he accepted the Acharyatva of Vishnu Swami Sampradaya and propagated a different Sampradaya named Pushtimarga Sampradaya as per the orders of Bhagavan. So these are the two dual aspects of his personality, Acharya personality. So though any texts written by Vishnu Swami are not available nowadays, but we, as per the part of legacy and as what our history and the tradition says, that the ancestors of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya used to worship Shaligram. So they used to follow the Tantric Vaishnav Puja Pranali, and the Gopala Mantra Diksha, they were initiated with Gopala Mantra Diksha. And till the date, many of the descendants of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya who have Yagyopavit, and they are, the male members of the family, they are initiated with Gopala Mantra Diksha And along with that, the Brahma Sambandha Diksha, which Mahaprabhu attained from Bhagavan Shri Krishna. So we are initiated with both the Diksha Pranali. So, yeah.
Yes, I was about to ask, what about the female members? Are they also initiated into any of the mantras?
Yes, we are initiated with Brahma Sambandha Diksha, not with Gopala Mantra Diksha, because it is for the sake, it is a Tantrika Diksha for the Shaligram Upasana.
Okay.
So male, it just depends upon the choice. Now there is no sort of compulsion, but as a part of legacy, many male members are initiated with Gopal Mantra, and many of those are not initiated with Gopal Mantra. So the following
Yeah, Nirguna Bhakti.
Nirguna.
So, and Vallabhacharya's Bhakti that he taught is a Nirguna Bhakti. So, can you just share some aspects about this Nirguna Bhakti? But you also said he spoke about Sakara Brahma. So,
Yeah.
Nirguna and Sakara are two different aspects of the same reality, isn't it? So, can you shed some light on this Nirguna Bhakti? Some important elements. Yeah.
The first thing about the philosophical aspect is that Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya says that being Nirguna and Sagun, as I mentioned, that Sakar and Nirakar, the Brahma aspect will go with Nirakarta and Krishna aspect will go with Sakarta. So Nirakarta and Sakarta are the two aspects of a single entity, and because Krishna equals to Brahma, Brahman equals to Krishna, and it is Ananda Rupa, Ananda Ghana Rupa, and that's why we cannot coin the term Sagun in the Laukika perspective, the way we use it for us. So when we say that I am Sagun, it means that I am affected of the guna of Prakriti, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. But because Prakriti has originated from Brahman and Krishna and Brahman are one, that's why when we say that Sagunata or Sakarta is the different aspect of Brahman, and it means that it is above being the Prakrit, beyond the level of Prakriti. That's why the Sagunata in Brahman has to be defined in a way that it is resembling the characteristics of being Prakrit, but it is not Prakrit. Because the Nirgunata and Sagunata are two aspects. So even when we say that Krishna is the Saguna Roop or Sakara Roop, it is not excluding the Nirguna aspect.
So, what is the defining or distinguishing element of this Nirguna Bhakti, which distinguishes it from other forms of Bhakti?
Yeah. The main aspect which Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya said was that because this sampradaya, Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya incarnated before almost 550 years. And this was the period when Kaliyuga is already there. And therefore, Sri Mahaprabhu, in his text named Krishnashray, he has elaborated the characteristics of Kaliyuga. And therefore, he says that the 6 aspects of Dharma, which are Desha, Kala, Dravya, Karta, Mantra, and Karma, all these 6 aspects of Dharma are not surviving anymore in Kaliyuga, in its ideal form. Like we don't have a Shuddha Desh, we don't have a Shuddha Kal, the mantra are not Shuddha anymore, we don't know how to interpret the meanings of those mantras. The karta itself, because of not being pure with the varnashram dharma, the karta is also not pure. And therefore, whatever sort of karma you fulfill on the basis of Shastra, even it will not be fulfilled because the 6 aspects are not pure anymore. That's why Vallabhacharya said that bhakti is the only path which is remaining for your uddhar, for attaining moksha. So Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya says that we need to keep bhakti different from all these 6 aspects. And therefore, even the Tantra Upasana, which needs all these 6 aspects, because even there we say that, okay, a person has to be initiated with Yajnapavid Sanskar, he has to be of a Shuddha Varna, only then he can perform this particular puja of any of the Dev, may it be in the Vaishnavite tradition, Shaivite or Shakta tradition. So Vallabhacharya says that when Bhagavan Shri Krishna incarnated on this earth, and he incarnated in Gokul, Mathura, in between the people who were not eligible for any sort of Shastriya karma. And when he incarnated between those people, he accepted devotion of those people. Krishna wanted that let us keep bhakti away from all these things. And when it is pure devotion, when it is complete love towards Bhagavan, then we don't need to have any sort of hurdle of any these Shastriya requirements or eligibility criteria. And that's why Mahaprabhu emphasized upon the Bhagavatiya Bhakti and not upon the tantric or shastriya upasana paddhati. And that's why he said that wherever we are using the shastriya traditions and we are keeping the obstacle that okay, this person cannot be initiated into this path or cannot be initiated into this type of puja paddhati just because he is not having yajnopavit sanskar, or just because he is from another varna which is not giving you the eligibility for following any type of shastriya karma. Even those people are eligible for performing devotion. So even the mlechas are eligible for performing devotion, even the shudras, the stri, as Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita in the 12th adhyay explains that even stri shudra can attain mukti if they are devoted to me. So Vallabhacharya emphasized upon the Bhagavatiya Bhakti. That's the major aspect. And that's why he kept his Bhakti and Seva different from all the Shastriya Puja Paddhati. And add on, he's always said that if, for example, if I'm eligible of doing Shastriya Paddhati, the puja as per Shastriya tradition, I can incorporate that puja Paddhati in my Seva. But it is not compulsory, or my seva will not remain incomplete without the Shastriya Paddhati. So there were many disciples of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya who were like only females. They didn't had anyone in their family. Still they used to serve Bhagavan without any Shastriya criteria in between. So this is how he is differentiating his bhakti. That the second aspect is about what will be the result of devotion, or what are you expecting as a result of your devotion. So Vallabhacharya says that when you are devoted towards Bhagavan, then that devotion itself is the result. You don't expect anything as the result. When you attain the devotion, when Krishna is satisfied with your devotion, Krishna's satisfaction itself is your goal, itself is a result. So you don't need to attain mukti as a result of devotion. Devotion has to be above mukti. So this is the aspect where he differentiated his devotion and titled it as Nirguna Bhakti, in which we don't need any Shastriya eligibility criteria. We don't need any type of expectations. And if you are doing a Nirupadhik, Nishkam, Nirguna Bhakti, only then it is okay as per the framework of Vallabh Sampradaya.
You mentioned Nirguna, Nirupadi Bhakti. So,
Yeah.
So does it mean that the normal Bhakti, in the sense, mostly the Bhaktis will be Saupadi, right? There will be a Pratima, there will be Nama, for example, Nama Sankirtana, which is prevalent, but even Nama is a Upadi, right? So, so how do you do this Nirupadi Bhakti?
The term Nirupadhik in our terminology means that what is the originating source of your devotion. Vallabhacharya says that Bhagavan's grace is the source of devotion. I cannot attain devotion with my will. I cannot attain devotion with my satkarma, with my punya karma. I cannot attain bhakti because of my family environment, because of any influence. But bhakti has to be the result of grace. And that's what the term Pushti means. So when Vallabhacharya's Sampradaya is titled as Pushtimarga, it means the path of grace. So all the chosen beings who have been chosen by Krishna himself for fulfilling his devotion, for performing his devotion, those graced beings are eligible for performing devotion. That's why Bhagavan's grace has to be the source of your devotion. And even I must be clear about this thing, that just because I am in the legacy of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya, I am his descendant, it doesn't mean that I am eligible for being a Krishna's devotee. Even I must be clear that if I will be graced by Bhagavan, only then it is possible for me to perform his devotion. So the term Nirupadit means that that bhakti must have only Bhagavan's grace as the source and no other reason behind the origination of the devotion. That's our term. And about what you asked is that Nama Sankirtan and Pratima and the Upachar we do perform as a part of our sadhana pranali, those are not counted as Sopadikta.
Okay.
First thing. And second thing is that because what Mahaprabhu says is that if I am doing something from my side, then I must consider that it is my sadhan. But when Bhagavan incarnated in Vraj for the sake of devotees, and he initiated the Vraj devotees to perform his devotion. Vraj devotees never initiated the devotion. Bhagavan graced them with his devotion. So in our terminology, it is known as Prameya Bal of Bhagavan. It is not Sadhan Bal, Pramana Bal, it is Prameya Bal. Because it happened, whole and sole reason was Bhagavan's grace. So that Seva Pranali, the Sadhana Pranali of Vallabh Sampradaya, is completely based upon the Bhagavatiya tradition. So when we worship Sri Krishna, we worship Krishna as Brajadhip, the son of Nandaraj ji and Yashoda. And he is our savior, he is our Pratima, and we worship Sri Krishna as Brajadhip. And the whole sadhana pranali, which continues from morning till the evening, it happens as per the schedule of Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Vraj. Like he used to wake up and Yashoda used to offer food to his child, to her child, and that's the same way we offer food to Shri Krishna. And the eatable items are also originated with the same way, that what do the child of Nandaraj and Yashoda ji would eat. So the milk products are emphasized because he is a Gopa Balak. So that's why the whole seva, the whole sadhana pranali revolves around the lifestyle of Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Vraj. So, as explained in the 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, the same lifestyle, same form, same type of dress up, same type of ornamentation, same things have been accepted.
Okay, wonderful. So you mentioned a while back that the 6 lakshanas of dharma, I think you mentioned, in the
Yeah.
Kaliyuga, they have all become kind of polluted, right? They have all become
Yes.
deteriorated. Now, and therefore, bhakti is the most potent means for attaining mukti, because it does not involve any of those criterias, any of those 6 dharma practices. So, if
Yeah.
this is the case, so my question is, have dharmashastras which speak about these dharmacharana in different contexts, have that they become irrelevant in today's time according to Vallabha's perspective, or does the dharma shastras even today have a role, and what kind of role is it?
Vallabhacharya has written a text named Tattvarth Deep Nibandh, and in the second chapter of Tattva Deep Nibandh, it is titled as Sarva Nirnay Prakran. So, in that text, Vallabhacharya has in depth explained the perspective of all the Shastras, starting from Ved, Smruti, Puran, Tantra, Ramayana, Mahabharata, etc. So, there he says that they are not irrelevant at all, because the dharmashastras are sanatan and their relevance is also sanatan. So we cannot say that they are outdated or we don't have any type of implementing program of these dharmashastras nowadays, but that program has to be revived as per the yuga dharma. That's what he meant. And therefore, he mentions that tadashraya tadiyatva buddhi kinchit samacharet swadharmam anutishtanvai. So there he says that along with tadashraya and tadiyata towards Krishna, sharanagati and samarpan towards Krishna, along with that, the devotee has to follow swadharma. And in the term swadharma, he has accepted all the shastriya dharma, including varnashram dharma. So he says that yathashakti, it is important to follow all the swadharma to the best of your capacity. We are not telling, Vallabhacharya is not asking anyone to leave any of the dharma, including varnashram dharma. We know that we are not living in a pure society, and as you even said that all these 6 aspects of dharma are not pure anymore. but to the best of our capacity we need to follow that. So for example, when I identify myself as Brahmin, or my father identify himself as Brahmin, he is having Yagyopavita sanskar, he is performing sandhya 3 times a day, we are following all the shodash sanskar tradition as per the Smriti Shastra. So Swadharma is important, and Vallabhacharya says that till the date you are not very much involved into the devotion. Because, for example, I know that I am a devotee of Krishna, but whenever someone would ask me that what is your identity, I will say that yes, I am a Brahmin. So he says that till the moment you are recognizing your Deha Dharma, till that moment it is important to follow all the Shastriya Dharma. But the very moment you stop considering yourselves or stop identifying yourselves with your Deha Dharma, and Atma Dharma is your only emphasized criteria, at that moment, if all the Swadharmas, all the Shastriya Dharma are not being able to be involved in your life, then it can be okay. Only devotion is also sufficient. But we need to divide our identifying aspects into these two parts. Till the moment we are identifying ourselves with our Deha Dharma, and the day when we are forgetting our Deha Dharma and we are just considering our Atma Dharma. And there are many incidents from Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya's disciples where we can see them living both these lives altogether. So, just for an example, that there was a disciple named Vaghaji Rajput. He was a Kshatriya by birth, and therefore he was serving the army in his country, in his state. And once after performing the seva at his place, the Krishna seva at his place, he visited the court, and suddenly he remembered that he had missed offering the ghee to his deity in the bhog, and he ran to his house with the same army dress, which was not okay, which was not appropriate for him, because we need to be pure when we are in the puja and the seva. So with the same dress, he offered the ghee to his deity. And there, the tradition says that because at that moment he was not aware about his Deha Dharma, he was just concerned about the happiness and satisfaction of his deity, and the Atma Dharma was proportionately more at that moment. That's why what he did was not wrong. So this is how he is differentiating the two aspects of a human being, two stages of devotion. Actually, I must say that sadhana bhakti and phalmukha bhakti. So when we are following the sadhana bhakti, at that time to follow all the varnashram dharma is compulsory, along with Bhakti Margiya Sadhana Pranali. And after you have overcome that stage, when you are in Phalmukha Bhakti, at that time your whole devotion is in the hand of Bhagavan, and that's why when you forget your Deha Dharma, only Atma Dharma is important for you, which is devotion.
Wonderful explanation, Maitri. This reminds me of, I think it is Madhusudana Saraswati. Also, he mentions this in one of his writings about, I think it was Bhagavad Bhakti Rasayana. He says, two conditions when one can renounce the dharma acharana, one can transcend it. One is you attain vairagya in the way, in the Vedantic way, in the Jnana Marga way, or you attain prema, pure bhakti, sadhya kind. Then all this karma will drop out on its own. So,
Exactly.
and I remember, I think I read somewhere, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa once mentioned that you have to do Sandhya Vandana in a proper manner until such a time when the very name Sandhya will take you to a meditation, to a Samadhi of Gayatri. Then the rituals will drop on its own, but until such a time you have to do it.
Exactly.
Yes,
So in
wonderful.
all the sadhana pranalis, when you reach to the higher stage in the Gyan tradition, in the Bhakti tradition, at that time all these Deha Dharma, the identities which are related to Deha Dharma will drop out. And all the Varnashram Dharma are related with our Deha Dharma, are with the identification of our body. So the same aspect has been accepted in the Gyan tradition, and same is about the Bhakti tradition as well.
Wonderful. So, moving forward, I wanted to ask you about some of the activities of in Vallabha Vidyapith that you do, and
Yeah.
can you just share more about it? What is its focus? What are the different kinds of activities do? What all responsibilities you have personally there to
Yeah.
look into? Yeah.
So, as of now, informally, before my father established Vallabhacharya Vidyapith in Gujarat. Even before that, we used to publish the original text of Vallabh Sampradaya, and that has always been the main work, the main focus, because there was a vacuum in our Sampradaya also for almost 100 years, where the whole tradition of learning the scriptures and following the scriptural pattern was completely lost. The teaching system was also lost. It happens with all the sampradayas when there is a moment, the changing moment, when we are not able to cope up with the changes going on in the society. So same thing happened with our sampradaya as well. It was unfortunate, obviously, but yeah, that happened. So my guru and my though uncle with my relation, but me and my father have learned from him. So Shyam Manohar Goswami, he had started publishing the texts of Vallabh Sampradaya before 50 years. And this has always been the main work focus for us, that we want all the scriptures of Vallabh Sampradaya to be published, and along with the translations as well to the best of our capacity. So Shyam Manohar ji, first of all, published all the Sanskrit texts. After that, we started translating those into Hindi and the Gujarati, which is the local language here. And some important texts have been translated into English as well. So I engaged in this activity along with my father before 10 years. And since then, we have been doing this. Along with publishing the text, we are focused upon the teaching part as well, because only publishing the books is not sufficient till the moment we don't teach those and people don't start reading it, because the books can remain in the cupboard, but people don't start reading it till the date we don't revive the system of guru shishya tradition. So my father started teaching it, and when we saw that there was a group which we formed successfully in these 40-50 years, which is dedicated for learning the scriptures of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya, my father thought of establishing Vallabhacharya Vidyapith, for having a place which can invite the disciples of Vallabh Sampradaya, and along with that, the people who are curious for learning Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya's Sampradaya and his scriptures. So my father established this institution in Gujarat. It has been 10 years since the Vidyapith established. And after that, we started expanding the activities. So publishing activity is still going on. And along with that, we are organizing 4 residential shibirs throughout a year, in which we have the facility for accommodating 200 people here. So people can stay here, they can have food here, they can learn here. So that type of shibirs are going on. Along with that, regular offline classes are also going on, in which we teach the texts of Vallabh Sampradaya in the evening and at night as well. And the online classes are also going on. So that's about the Sampradayik activity. Along with that, we have some Sanskrit learning students here, Brahmin children here, who are learning the Shastras in the traditional way, like a Gurukul Parampara. And we are preserving the manuscripts of Vallabh Sampradaya here. And so basically for Shastra and for Sampradaya both, we are not just focusing upon Sampradaya, but the Shastri aspect and Sampradayik aspect, both are being fulfilled there. So my engagement in these activities is for publishing and translating the text, and as a teacher as well. So I teach through online classes on daily basis, offline classes as well, and during the shibirs as well, the residential shibirs which continue here.
Are your books available online, like in Amazon or other platforms?
We haven't done that yet, but all the ebooks are available on pushtimarga.net. It is a website of our Vidyapith. And even if someone is, we have a WhatsApp contact through which we deliver the books through courier services to whoever is interested in having those texts.
Okay, okay, wonderful. Uh, You are also currently teaching as teaching at one of the universities in, I think in Mumbai, in one of the colleges.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
teaching Vallabha Vedanta, right? My question is, what are the challenges that you face in teaching a sampradayik, a traditional shastra system such as Vallabha Vedanta to a modern audience who is not versed, who is not exposed to the shastric methods of teaching or certain fundamental aspects that you receive in a Gurukula training, which are obvious to you, but it may not be very obvious to a modern audience. For, let's
yeah.
say, someone doing a diploma or MA or anything. Some of the challenges that you have faced in communicating to them, and how you went about solving the issues you faced.
Yeah. The first problem has always been there was a linguistic problem that people don't understand Sanskrit anymore. And all the Sampradaya scriptures, Shastriya scriptures are there in that language. So there are many terms which cannot be translated in a proper way. We cannot convey the same meaning which has been conveyed through that particular Sanskrit terminology. So the first problem is to make people habituated with those terminologies. So therefore, when we saw that people were not able to even understand what does Jivatma term means, what does the term Dharma means, what does the term Sanskar means, Varnashram Dharma, what does it mean by Varna, Ashram, etc. So we, before jumping to the original text of our Acharya, we formulated a course in which we can make people understand the meaning of these basic terminologies which are related with our Shastriya Parampara. So yes, this has been a challenge because nowadays people are completely unaware about the Shastriya language. First thing, the Shastriya terminologies. So we cannot just completely go through the text all of a sudden. But when a new person is approaching us, at that time we have to make him habituated with these basic terms. So that the step has changed. The first step was to go through the Shastra, but now we have to make them understand the terminologies first, and then after being habituated with those terminologies, we can make them learn the Shastra. This was the first thing. Second problem has been with the subject matter of the text. Because when Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya wrote all these scriptures, and after him, his descendants also wrote commentaries and independent scriptures for making understand the principles of Vallabh Sampradaya, they were expecting that the person who is reading this is aware about the Shastra, the basic Hindu Shastras. He is aware about what Bhagavat is, he is aware about what Gita is, or he is aware about what Upanishads or Mimamsa has to say. But now the problem is that we are completely unaware about what these Shastras have to say. And when a person gets initiated into Vallabh Sampradaya, or he may not get initiated in whatever the case is, but he is completely there with the mindset that Vallabhacharya has some independent principles to say. But as Vallabhacharya says that I am not giving you any independent teaching, but everything is there in all these scriptures, and I am just trying to make you understand those things in a simple way. So the problem was that when we read, just like for example, Mahaprabhuji has written a text named Bhagavatarth Prakran and the Subodhini commentary upon whole Bhagavad Mahapuran. So he is expecting that you know what is the storyline of Bhagavad, and I am here for explaining you the essence of those stories. But the issue is that I haven't read Bhagavad any day. So how can I understand what Bhagavatarth has to say? So these are the problems we face while making people understand. So we have to make them understand that, okay, what Smriti is, what Shruti is, what Mimamsa is, what Upanishad is. And then we can make them understand that, okay, this is the perspective of Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya. This is the second thing. And third thing is about the Puru Paksh and the subject matter which is being discussed there. Because, for example, when Vallabhacharya has to establish any principle, he will keep the other views which have been presented by Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, or Sankhya and Yoga tradition in his mindset. That, okay, in front of these people, I have to establish my principle. But now the problem is that we are not aware about what Shankaracharya has to say. So wherever Mahaprabhu is explaining his principle by keeping Shankaracharya's view in his mind, we don't know the base from which this principle of Mahaprabhu is originating. Like, for example, while establishing Sakar Brahmavad or Satkarantavad or Satkaryatavad, when he will say that, okay, I don't consider Jagat to be mithya, I consider that Jagat is real. Or I consider that there is no sort of dvait or dualism between Lord Bhagavan and Jivatma, but there is non-dualism. So, first of all, I need to know what Shankaracharya ji has to say, what Ramanuja or Madhvacharya has to say. And after that, in consideration of those principles, I can make people understand what Vallabhacharya has to say. So the whole process is doubled up. And the most important thing is about the science influence, that people feel the science supremacy, that everything has to be taught in a logical way. We need to have logical explanation of all the Adhyatmic Pakshas, but they don't understand that Shastra is focusing upon Adhyatmic Paksha while science is focusing upon the Adibhautik Paksha. So we need to make them understand that keep these things different from each other. We are in more depth than what science has to say. And most important thing about the logical explanation of all these practices, because the lifestyle has to be from the Hinduism. We
I
don't
think
have in, yeah.
I think rather than logical, what they expect is an empirical explanation, because logic is on our side also, tarka is with us also, but they need a particular kind of explanation, a empirical explanation, which is what science is all about.
Right, you are right. Yeah, so this is the major problem, that we say that yes, bhakti can give you empirical experience, but after a certain stage, after you reach to a certain stage, after that you can empirically experience everything. But till the moment, you need to have patience in yourself, you need to be stuck with the sadhana pranali, and only after that we can make you understand what the shastras have to say and what is the practical influences or experiences based upon these shastriya principles. So yeah, these are the problems which we face.
I think the greatest challenge is that today the texts, I mean, the Shastras, they're approached as historical texts. I mean, somebody wrote something like in the West, in Western philosophy, we have philosophers like Aristotle, Plato, many others writing their speculations, writing their analysis, understanding, very insightful, yes, but our shastras is of a different nature. There are of course works by individual authors with their understanding, but there are also core texts which are revelations. So this notion of shastra pramana is missing in current current students and current environment, that we we treat texts as a historical monuments, a relics of the past, to know about the society, then all sorts of non-essential things we use the text for. That is the main
Exactly.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
We are almost coming to an end of the session, so I have one final question to you. As a practitioner of Vallabha Vedanta, Vallabha Sampradaya, Pushtimarga, so and as a woman, what are your daily dinacharyas? So do you practice in any particular dinacharyas according to your sampradaya that applies to you?
Yeah, indeed. So in our sampradaya, as I said, that the first principle is to serve Sri Krishna. Performing his seva, serving Sri Krishna is the most important aspect of an individual after you get initiated into Vallabh Sampradaya. So Krishna Seva Sada Karya is the first principle preached by Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya. So in my lifestyle as well, this is the most important part, in which during the morning period after I wake up and even in the evening, we follow the whole procedure of seva on the daily basis. And sometimes it changes on the festivals and as per the rituals which are supposed to be followed on particular occasions. Along with that, the Nitya part of Bhagavat and the texts which have been written by Srila Prabhuji, the Mool part is also compulsory in our Sampradayik tradition, in our family tradition as well. So Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya has said that Pathecha Niyamam Kritva Sri Bhagavatam Adharat. That Srimad Bhagavat is the Namatmak Swarup of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, and that's why it is important to recite the original text of Bhagavat on daily basis. So it is an important part of our daily lifestyle. And along with that, the as I am in the teaching profession in the Vidyapith also, so editing the texts, typing the text and teaching those texts is a part of my lifestyle. So these are the important part of my day-to-day life. And along with that, yeah, as a normal human being, we do other things as well. But yeah, the most important aspects of our Sampradayik lifestyle is Seva, Nam Sankirtan, part, I mean, of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Shodas Granth, which are the most important treatises written by Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabhacharya, which are giving us the complete framework of Vallabh Sampradaya, and along with that, the teaching the scriptures.
So the part is of the Bhagavad Purana or of the Bhagavad Gita?
Bhagavat, Bhagavad Gita, and Shodas Granth, all these three.
Okay. Okay, wonderful, Maitri ji. It was a wonderful conversation. I think we could go on discussing all these things for another hour or two, but we have to end here. It was a wonderful conversation, very insightful. I'm sure all our viewers would deeply appreciate it. And thank you for making time for this session and for this enriching discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Viewers, with this, we conclude this session of Quest interviews. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for updates about upcoming sessions. Thank you. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.